Right now, let's talk about those retail sales numbers that came out at 8:30 a.m. Little stronger than expected. Spencer Jakab, ahead of the tape columnist, is here to tell us why. Is it as easy as just saying the iPhone?
At the margin, it seems to affect it. I'm not being very scientific here. Went back and looked at the last three iPhone releases, the 3GS, the 4, and the 4S. And if you look at those months, relative to expectations, retail sales did a lot better. And there's a real reason for that. It's not just that people bought a lot of iPhones and whatever. It's that they tended to come out like this month that just reported, that are pretty weak months for electronic sales. Now, what the Census Bureau does is they have a weighting. So, you know, if you sell a lot of iPhones in December, it's not going to have a big effect. You're going to basically, you know, divide it by 2/3. You know, if it comes out in September or April or June or one of those months, it doesn't have a lot of electronic sales. It has an outsized effect, and that's what I speculated, is that the 0.7% that was the consensus that economists were looking for is probably too low, specifically because of the big iPhone 5 launch that we had, and it really seems to have an effect, because if you look at the electronic sales component, computers and electronics, it was off the charts, 4.5% up versus everything else that was either down, up or down 1%.
So now, I mean, okay, how much should I make of this then? Okay, the sales number was higher than expected. iPhone, I get it, all that stuff, but as you're pointing out, I mean, a lot of this is sort of seasonal. How much strength should I really take away in terms of how much strength the consumer has?
You know what? You shouldn't take away a lot, because an iPhone launch is an iPhone launch. I mean, the money that you spend on that, you take out of savings, you take out of future consumption, you put on your credit card, what have you. You bundle it into a 2-year contract. It's not that the iPhone in and of itself, you know, we're not in an eye economy. There's no such thing. I mean, you're not, these things tend to warp the statistics, and it has the power to do that, which is interesting in and of itself, and something that economists don't seem to have anticipated. They seem to keep missing the lumpiness. But on the other hand, if someone then goes out and raises next month's retail sales forecast or this quarter's GDP forecast because of this, then they're also getting it wrong, because it's not, I mean, it's a single product, it's a very popular product, but money isn't, you know, yet at least materializing out of thin air and being dropped from helicopters.
And they don't release them every week.
No, they don't. No, it's about once a year.
Also, I want to touch quickly on gas. Gas sales were up. We saw that, right?
Right.
What does that mean? How would I take away?
Well, that's also, it's kind of a dead weight loss, right? I mean, if gasoline prices are higher, and they were very high in California, by the way, a lot higher than the national average, because of refinery problems there. That doesn't really mean that consumers are more bullish. You had to fill your tank, you had to get to work. That's also a bit of a distortion. So it's not. I mean, you have to separate, to look at these numbers and say, you know, what's permanent, what's really reflective of better incomes, what's reflective of better sentiment, and I don't really see a lot different in this month's retail numbers. Nothing to really write home about. But it's interesting, the kinds of little things, even from one product from one company, that can mess up the statistical forecast.
Right. All right, let's leave it there. Spencer Jakab, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.